I would like to address something in this video. I would like to address, knowing a person versus not knowing a person, and what that looks like. See, when you know somebody, when you get to know somebody, you begin to understand them. And when you begin to understand them, you understand why they are the way that they are. You understand what makes them tick. You understand, their strengths and their weaknesses. Well, um, I'm seeing a lot in today's world where we are we meet somebody new, and then as soon as we see something that they do that we don't like, or maybe we might catch them in some kind of sin, or we learn that there's like this secret sin, here's what we do before we get to know them. Now, go back to what I just said. Knowing somebody, you begin to understand them. And when you understand people, you understand what makes them the way that they are. Right? And when you start to understand, you have more grace. Well, when you just meet somebody, you don't know them, you never spent a day with them. Or maybe you spent a few days with them, or maybe a year or two, but how well do you really know a person with just a couple years? See, and we are starting to make judgments based on what we see, not what we know. When you know a person, you can make a judgment based on what you know. And when you don't know somebody, you make a judgment based on what you see. But see, here's the thing. We, somebody new that comes along, we shake their hand, we speak to them, and then all of a sudden we see something that we don't like, and then all of a sudden, we want them to be at a distance. Let me break it down for you this way. In the NFL, I have started to see this a lot lately with quarterbacks. See, the NFL coaches, they want a certain type of quarterback. They want their quarterback to fit their system. The majority of these systems ran in the NFL is a quarterback that can throw the ball 80 yards, has an arm for a cannon, can run, can do it all. That's the NFL that we are seeing. And so there's some quarterbacks that the NFL, that coaches, they want to get to know. They want to get to know, like work with them. They want to work with them, get to know what makes, their strengths and weaknesses. There's certain quarterbacks that the coaches of the NFL are working with, trying to get to know them, trying to understand what their strengths and weaknesses are so they can make them better. Why? Because those quarterbacks, they fit within the system. But what about a quarterback that doesn't exactly fit into the system that we are seeing in the NFL? For example, Trubisky, example, Tim Tebow, for example, Nick Foles. Those are now Nick Foles, he has an arm, but he can't run. He's not as athletic as Justin Fields. Justin Fields, he's more athletic. He has an arm, but he's not as accurate. He's not as accurate. And he's not as consistent. But the NFL is, working with Justin Fields to make him better, right? Giving him more chances. Why? Because Justin Fields fits into the vast majority of the systems that we now see in the NFL, and Trubisky doesn't really fit into that system. Nick Foles, if Nick Foles was a quarterback, like if Nick Foles came into the league in Tom Brady's time, he would have fit and he would have been a starting quarterback. But those starting quarterbacks no longer fit into the system. And so they're putting those quarterbacks aside because they just don't fit. There's something about them that you're not athletic, so you're a backup, right? And what I'm saying is, likewise, that's what is happening in society. That is what's happening all around us in life. Today, we meet somebody that is new, like to us, as like a new friend, and then all of a sudden we see something that doesn't fit in, or we catch them in the act of sin, and we go, oh, stay over here. Stay over here. Keep your distance. And I'm here to tell you that's not right. We should not be doing that. What if we gave everybody the same chance, the same opportunity to get to know them? Because it goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video. You get to know somebody, you start to understand, what makes them the way that they are. And, by understanding that, you understand them better and you give them more grace.